A husband stood outside his suburban Colorado home, his voice steady but hollow, telling police that his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters had vanished without warning. No signs of a struggle. No note. No explanation. Just an empty house and a man who appeared almost unnervingly calm. Inside, everything looked untouched. Shoes by the door. A purse left behind. Medication still on the counter. To investigators, the scene didn't suggest a sudden disappearance. It suggested interruption. A life paused mid-sentence. For Shanann Watts, a woman known for documenting every detail of her world, leaving without her phone, her children, or a word to anyone who loved her was unthinkable. As police body cameras rolled, the husband paced, folded his arms, avoided eye contact. His words sounded right, but his presence felt wrong. There was no visible panic, no desperation, only a quiet eagerness for answers that seemed rehearsed rather than raw. In true crime, it's often the absence of emotion that speaks the loudest. Within hours, neighbors would offer surveillance footage. Friends would raise alarms. Digital footprints would begin telling a story far darker than the one being spoken aloud. And as the layers peeled back, the image of a devoted family man would fracture, revealing a psychological landscape shaped by resentment, secrecy, and a forbidden relationship that had quietly rewritten his reality. This was not a crime of passion in the traditional sense. It was something colder, something planned in the shadows of normalcy. And the question investigators would soon face was not if Chris Watts was lying, but why he believed this lie could survive the truth. Because behind every family annihilator lies a trigger point, a moment where fantasy becomes justification. And in this case, that trigger may not have been rage, but desire. If you're drawn to true crime stories that go beyond headlines and dig into the psychology behind the darkness, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Shadow of Deceit, and turn on notifications. What comes next exposes the hidden pressures and relationships that push this case toward the unthinkable.
What did she know about you? Did she know you were married at first?
She did, once I showed her the pictures. Yeah, on the phone. Yeah, with the home screen picture and everything.
So was your wife in that picture, or was it just your girls?
It was just my girls right there, but my wife was the lock screen.
Oh.
So she knew I was married with my kids.
Okay.
Are you aware that she said she didn't know you were married? What did you think about that?
I figured it was just trying to save face, trying to, just trying to, something my sister said, it was just trying to keep things together.
Yeah.
Just trying to, she phrased it a different way, but just kind of just like ground control, just trying to control everything that's going on around her, because I'm sure she got bombarded by all kind of different sides from the media and everything. So
have you talked to her at all? No.
I'm hoping she hasn't written me in a different alias or something. I'm not talking to her that way.
Oh.
And are you not allowed to talk to her?
I would hope not.
Okay. No one's told you that then?
No, I mean I would expect I thought Colorado it said on the DOC list that if you're on a victim list you can't call anybody.
Oh, right.
But here I'm not sure if that's the same. But I just talked to my sister, parents, some friends of my parents. Okay.
Do you wish you could talk to her?
Maybe once, just to
get some closure?
Just to say hey, just once.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, I'm sorry this all happened. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what happened afterwards. What you went through. If you had counseling. If you're different state. If you had to leave everything behind. I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry. And that's not something that's not happening or happening to somebody else either.
Would you be alright if we told her that?
That's fine.
You want us to? You want us not to?
And if she would want to even talk to you guys, I'm not sure if I'm sure she'd answer your phone call more than the attorney phone call that she didn't want to go answer. Yeah.
Oh, so your attorney tried to call her and she wouldn't answer?
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember her phone number, but after that they figured out, I guess, where she lived. They left a business card there.
He revisits moments that destroyed lives with unsettling calm, offering explanations that feel incomplete, rehearsed, and sometimes self-serving. Each word invites a deeper question. Not just about what happened, but about who he was long before the murders. This is not a story about a confession. It is a story about what confession cannot fix. About a man who constructed a version of himself so convincing that even those closest to him never saw the cracks. A man who now claims clarity, faith, and remorse, while the truth remains fractured. As this prison interview unfolds, it forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality. Some killers are not driven by rage or chaos, but by silence, suppression, and emotional vacancy. And when they finally speak, they don't reveal answers. They reveal how carefully they hid them. Before we go further into what Chris Watts says now, it's important to understand who he was then, and how a seemingly invisible man became one of the most disturbing figures in modern true crime. If you want to continue unraveling the psychology, the lies, and the silence surrounding this case, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Shadow of Deceit, and turn on notifications. Because what comes next exposes the man behind the mask, and the warning signs no one saw.
It's just like, did she have to leave? Like, did she have to do anything at work? That was one thing. So she always told me that was her dream job. So,
Oh, really? What did she mean?
like in the old company in the dark, I was like, I mean, unless you're working for like BP or like kind of Phillips or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
In the dark, I was like, what's that?
Big leagues.
Yeah.
Can I ask kind of a tough question? Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was the same from her. Okay. Tell us about the time it's after.
But, I mean, it felt like it was, I think, like when you said, like, I was more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never, like, been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, trying to pursue, because, like, when me and Shanann met, it was like, she was always, like, pushing me away, kind of like,
She was sick for a while, right?
Oh, yeah, she had just got diagnosed with lupus, and she was on, like, a bunch of different medications and stuff, and, it was, like, I guess I was one of her type. And
You weren't her type?
I wasn't her type, because, like, she told me, like, when she first, because we had met.
She told you that?
Yeah.
You're not.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it was like, when we first met, like, it was at a movie theater. My cousin's ex-wife set us up.
You were dressed like shit, weren't you?
I
think that's what you told me.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, that.
They weren't having any games?
So she was fancy and he was in like shorts and tennis shoes or something, right?
I should have known the doorman, was in a suit. And I was just like, this isn't good. And like,
Was it the theater?
It was a fancy theater, right?
It was
Kinda?
in Charlotte. It was called the Epicenter, and apparently they give you like champagne and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, this is a fancy date night theater.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
movie
he came like he was going to a
Like I was,
Cinemax,
Like
like
like I was going to a pawn
like
shop
an
or something.
AMC.
Like a play theater?
No, it was like you we just watched the normal movie, but like you can like drink champagne and like have like a Jack and Coke inside the theater and just sit there and just whatever. But like it's when she first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. Like, no, I'm not here to meet. But yeah, like I was like persistent trying to pursue something. I liked her, and even on our first date, like I couldn't even eat anything. Really, I was just like,
Just so nervous?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she was just like, chowing down. And she was like, you're like a bird. I'm like, oh, and she taught my parents, like, months later, she was like, this guy just never ate. Like, this guy eats like a trash disposal. This trash disposal. I was like, no, not around me. I was like, well, I'm just nervous. I was always like shaking and everything. But, yeah, I was always pursuing her, and then just like, finally I grew onto her. Like, I would always like with her medications and stuff, I would always like, she had like 8 bottles of medication, so I would always get like her day and nights and kind of like put them all in that little, flip open and pill box, all that kind of stuff. And I would always, be around her. I even went to her colonoscopy. She said after that she knew that was like kind of a keeper. It's like, who goes to a colonoscopy after 3 months with somebody?
Right.
It's a little soon.
Well, she asked if she needed a ride. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to go across the colonoscopy with me? I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah. Like even sat where they watch you drink that nasty stuff all day.
Yeah.
Oh. Where she's in the bathroom
That's
all
a good
day?
test.
That clear stuff that doesn't really taste clear. Yeah, but yeah, it was. I mean, it felt like it was a great relationship. Everything was great.
Now you're talking about with Kissinger?
No, with
Or
Tom
with-
Motion and like the first year, you know, like yeah, my parents never. I don't know. My mom was always kind of hesitant.
What?
I was the baby, I guess. I never, you know, I never had a girlfriend in high school, so it's kind of like she never like really saw me like.
Oh, interesting. So she's kind of watching her baby walk out a little bit.
Yeah, because I now turned 18. I graduated. I never moved back
Okay.
at home. So and my
How
sister
old-
moved back and forth all the time. So
How old were you when you met Shanann?
I was 25. It was 2010. So
Okay.
So no serious girlfriends before that?
nothing more than like 6 months or so. Yeah, there was some girls here and there, but just nothing more than like, you know, the last girlfriend I had before Shanann, she was just actually got divorced, and I should never done that. But it was more of like I was kind of like helping her get through her divorce. It seemed like she went on to somebody else. I'm like, oh, nice to know.
You're the rebound guy?
The rebound guy.
Pretty much, but you know, that's how it goes.
Would you say that in your relationships with women, it seems to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it seems to me like you're attracted to maybe a more dominant personality?
It seemed like it because I'm more of the just reserved. I mean, I just kind of like go with the flow type.
Yeah.
But then like Shannon usually made all the decisions. It seemed like so.
I get that. I'm the same. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I don't think that's right with you, but
So then, and I know it's hard to keep bouncing back and forth, but and one of the reasons we're here is we just keep telling ourselves, Chris just does not fit the mold. Chris is not.
No.
Like it just blows us away what happened, right? And so we will do a little bit of bouncing back and forth, and that's really just to get to know you a little bit better. And we never really got that chance, did we? We were talking about
Twice. Yeah, you once.
yeah.
Probably like 3 or 4. You remember 3 or 4 times probably.
So then do you call her Nikki or Nicole? Okay.
I always call her Nikki.
Okay.
I know there's so many Nickies and Nicoles in this.
Right, there is.
I got confused.
So we'll call her Nikki. So then with Nikki, was it different?
It just seemed like I was more in control, it seemed like. And that never happened. Like she'd actually like asked me like my opinion on a lot of things and just like what I wanted to do and just kind of like, okay.
That's new, wasn't it?
Very new.
That's fascinating to me. And so did it feel more like an equal partnership or?
It seemed like it.
Yeah. Okay. So then when it was date night, would you guys talk about it? Would you ask to go somewhere? Or would she say, I want to go somewhere? Was it too fast?
The first time we went out, it was to a movie over at the Orchard, off the 144th over there, and I asked her, like, hey, you want to go see this movie? And, like, yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. And we got there, it was sold out, and, normally we'd probably just have, just wait 2 hours, like, not just go home, but not, she just wanted to walk around and just talk. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that was different, and, I think she wanted to go to the car museum, the Shelby Museum in Boulder. I've never been there. And
That's right up your alley.
Oh, yeah. I was just like, that was awesome, just to walk around cars for like an hour or so. And then, drag race in Vandermeer.
Okay.
I haven't been to a drag race since 2008. That was in Charlotte.
Okay.
Like that was a drag strip over there. It's like the NHRA, the Top Fuel, fun car stuff. Like me and my dad used to grow up.
Yeah.
Go there like all the time. And then went to camping in Sand Dunes National Park. And I'd never been camping. I always wanted to do it. Thought it was she'd done it like countless times.
Oh, really?
Okay.
She's outdoorsy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess every time like she needed to clear her head, she'd just go by herself. Just go somewhere else. Yeah.
But she's a completely new type of person in a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long before his name became synonymous with betrayal, Chris Watts lived a life defined by invisibility. He was not loud. He was not dominant. He did not draw attention to himself. Friends and co-workers described him as dependable, quiet, almost painfully ordinary. He worked long hours, followed routines, avoided conflict, and rarely expressed strong emotion. In many ways, he was the kind of man people stop noticing because he never gives them a reason to look closer. Shanann Watts, by contrast, lived loudly and openly. She documented her life with precision and pride. Her marriage, her children, her ambitions, and her struggles. She was driven, expressive, and deeply invested in building a future she could control after years of personal hardship. Together, they appeared to balance each other. Her energy filled the spaces he left empty. His calm steadied the storms she sometimes carried. To outsiders, they looked like proof that opposites could create harmony. But beneath that surface, pressure quietly accumulated. Financial strain loomed behind curated smiles. Medical anxieties, career instability, and mounting debt added weight to an already fragile foundation. Shanann believed in communication and visibility, while Chris retreated inward. Each disagreement ended not with resolution, but with silence. Each unmet expectation became another thing he buried rather than confronted. Psychologists would later note that this dynamic created a dangerous imbalance. Chris learned to disappear emotionally while still performing the role expected of him. He did not argue. He did not protest. He complied. And over time, compliance hardened into resentment. Not explosive resentment, but cold, quiet resentment that fed on repression. The family's life was meticulously recorded, but the most important truth never made it onto the screen. Chris Watts was not learning how to cope. He was learning how to detach. And detachment, when left unchecked, does not simply fade away. It evolves. This is the foundation that matters. Not just the marriage, but the pattern. A man who avoided conflict at all costs. A man who chose silence over honesty. A man whose calm exterior masked a growing internal fracture that no one thought to question. Because the most dangerous transformations don't announce themselves. They happen slowly, behind closed doors, while everything still looks normal.
All right. What were you thinking this whole time?
In the back of my head, I was just telling myself, what are you doing? Like, every time, I'd open up my phone, I could see pictures, like, of my wife and my kids, and just like, what am I doing? And then, like, every time I was with her, it seemed like I didn't think. It seemed like it was like a blinder that was in my face.
Oh.
And it just, like, every time I look back on it, like, like, I have pictures of my wife and kids and myself. And, like, every night, or every morning, every night, I just, talk to them, say, like I have, like, this book I used to read for CC, and I remember that book, so I read that to them, like, every night. And, like, there's some scripture and stuff that I read to them, so I just try to think back, like, I wish this never happened. And it's like, I wish that blinder wasn't on my head, or in my eyes, that would have seen what was going on. Like, I was having, everybody said, oh, you're just out there having fun while your kids, or kids and wife are on vacation. I'm just like, no, it wasn't like that, but it seemed like that's what it looks like. When you're going, you're going to camping, going to drag race, going all the other stuff that you have fun doing, but you're with somebody else. It's not your family. It just didn't seem right. And, with her, it just didn't seem like I needed to see that anymore. And I was there at her house pretty much every night. So it was like I didn't have that time at home just to really think about anything. Because literally I was only at home from, like, when I got home from work. I worked out, I ate dinner, and then I went over her house. Like, I never slept in my house, like, the whole month of July.
Now, talk me through that, though. When you said you went home and then you were at her house, was that while Shanann was gone? Oh, okay. So you weren't even at your house.
No.
this all happened so quickly, didn't it?
It was insane. Like I didn't like. She even told me like she would never, in like a normal relationship, she would never have somebody over at her house like more than like once or twice a week. But she felt like she wanted me over there.
Yeah.
She said she felt comfortable over there.
Yeah.
So it was just like that's what was different. Like she wanted me over there. But I just wish that all that would just go away. I just wish I almost like I know it's hard to, I know it's wrong to say I wish I never met somebody, but I wish I, maybe met her at work and then just kept it that way.
I think if we had a time machine, I don't think this would happen again. Because some people, when this happens, you're like, well, if it wasn't this time, it would have been next time, or it wouldn't have been the next time. It just wouldn't have happened with you, would it? It happened so quickly that you tell me if I'm wrong. You're not the type of guy to take control sometimes when you need to. Yeah, it seems like this is what happened.
Yeah, I didn't take control of the situation. It's just like the situation controlled me.
Right, it just happened. No, I get that, man. I'm somewhat passive myself, and it's like, there's situations where I'm like, oh, why did I let that keep going?
Yeah, I don't know why. It was like a roller coaster ride that I just kept punching and taking on, and just never pick it up.
Yeah. Can we talk about the hardest subject? So when we were talking, the last time we talked, the last thing we talked about was where the girls were. But we never really got to talk about that night. So what happened?
So nothing really happened that night. It was in the morning. It was, me and Shanann, she got home like at 2 o'clock. And, I felt her getting to bed. And I just felt like I didn't feel like I just made sure I looked at my phone at 2 o'clock and make sure she's okay, she's in there. And I could kind of feel her kind of stirring around a little bit. And, I just had a feeling that she knew like what was going on. I mean, obviously, I didn't use I didn't have a gift card, that I got, and I used my actual credit card. And I kind of just felt like she knew what was going on, and she started rubbing her hand on me, and we ended up having sex. But I guess that was more like a test.
Oh,
I would have thought.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because when we talked, when I woke up later on in the morning, I pretty much, told her, I didn't think it was going to work anymore. And she was like, what happened? What was last night?
Mm-hmm.
I figured that's the test after I've gone through everything in my head.
That makes sense.
And she just told me, to get off of her. And she was like, I knew there was somebody else, I knew there was somebody else, I knew there was somebody else. I couldn't just say, yes, there is somebody else, but then she said, you're never going to see the kid again.
As the weeks passed, that internal fracture began to show subtle signs, small enough to be dismissed, yet significant in hindsight. Chris Watts started changing in ways that were easy to rationalize if you weren't looking for them. He lost weight rapidly, presenting it as discipline and self-improvement. He became more attentive to his appearance, more structured in his routines, more focused on control. On the surface, it looked like growth. Underneath, it was detachment taking shape. His emotional distance deepened. Messages grew shorter, affection faded, presence became physical rather than emotional. To Shanann, it felt like something was slipping away, but she couldn't name it. She tried to pull him closer through communication, through reassurance, through plans for the future. Each attempt only widened the gap. Where she leaned in, he pulled back. Where she asked questions, he offered silence. This pattern is critical to understanding what came next. Behavioral experts often point out that withdrawal is not neutral. It is active avoidance. Chris was no longer participating in the life he had built. He was observing it from a distance, as if preparing for an exit he hadn't yet admitted to. Himself. The more he detached, the easier it became to imagine a version of life without responsibility, without conflict, without the weight of expectations. Outside the home, a different version of Chris began to emerge, one that felt seen, validated, and unburdened. The contrast between his internal world and his external obligations became sharper, more intoxicating, and with that contrast came a dangerous shift in thinking. Instead of confronting problems, he began mentally erasing them. This is where red flags become clear in retrospect. Not anger, not violence, but emotional erasure. The quiet rewriting of reality in his mind, where obligations became obstacles and people became barriers to a desired outcome. If this analysis is helping you see the case in a deeper way, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Shadow of Deceit. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter, where we uncover how this detachment crossed an irreversible line.
Never gonna see them again. Get off me. Don't hurt me. And then,
Is that what you said?
so I was good. Like when I climbed in bed, that was pretty much like on top, pretty much like straddling her. And she thought I was gonna like, hurt her or her baby or something. So, because she knew that something had happened. She thought I was just trying to, just check out or something. So, and that's when that happened.
I know it's hard, but you mind if we talk to the tiny bit deeper about that? So she comes home, she touches him, you guys have sex, it seems like she's doing her test, which I understand. Sounds like you do too.
I'm sure, Nikki or Cole Atkinson or Cassie probably told her,
That's what I was thinking, right? They talked about it during that whole weekend.
more than likely. That's my parents told me there was going through text messages. It's all pretty much they all kind of just told her it's with somebody else type of deal.
Yeah. And she spent a lot of time with the gals. That's what they did probably all weekend is talk about it, give her advice. I think that's what we found, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she comes home, you guys have sex, and then did you fall asleep between then and going to work?
Yes.
Okay. So then at some point, does she wake you up or did you wake up for work?
A lot more.
Oh, okay. And you're going to work out. But then that's when she started wanted to talk more. She was pretty mad.
Yeah, it was. I already kind of knew that. Using that credit card,
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
I had no other way to do it.
Oh.
I used because I got Darko gift cards from doing good stuff at work and stuff like that, and I'd use them all.
Oh. Was part of you just screw it, whatever, I don't care. I'm using this card.
Part of me just wants to say, Nikki, can you pay for this? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Even I think my attorney said she even knows I used a different card, like a blue card. Maybe she thought, I felt comfortable enough just using a normal bank account or something. But I told her I was going to Rocky, and I told you I was going to Rocky.
Yeah.
It was just it felt looking back at everything, just reading the scripture more and more now, I can see God gave me opportunities to get at it. Even my friend Jeremy Lindstrom, he even invited me because it was his daughter that came and watched the kids on that Saturday night. And he was like, hey, you said we're going to a Rocky game, you want to go to me with the Bronco game and watch the Arizona Cardinals? In my mind it was go. Just say, hey, I can't find a babysitter.
Nikki?
Yeah. And maybe that would have been life switch just goes different directions. That was kind of my last opportunity.